Yes, hello everybody. I'm so excited because I have my friend here, Kayti Heller. She's not singing at this moment. I wanted to take some time to just have a chat with her because she's had such an interesting life growing up in Alaska, and she's so super gifted. She goes on to perform with, who are you performing with tonight now?
The Denali Cooks tonight.
Okay, so the Denali Cooks are a local Alaska band also, and I've been told that they are a feel-good band, which is so super freaking cool. She's going to be performing about 7 o'clock in that area. She said that there are several different singers tonight, but I'm definitely going to be going back live again. I wanted to make sure we just took a couple moments. It got windy up here, y'all. It got windy. Yay. All right, so Kayti, golly, you know what? Can you guys see us? I'm trying to fix what the other interview with Mike was, because I had like half my face the whole time. It was great. It was so cool. Yay! I'm so happy to see you. All right.
Yes.
Alrighty. So, Kayti, you told me that you have been singing since 11 years old. Mm-hmm. So how many years would that give you as a vocalist right now?
22.
22 years. Wow.
Yeah.
You don't even look your age, girl. This girl is so full of goddess energy, let me tell you.
Thank you.
I
used to hate that when I was younger, that people thought I looked so young, but now that I'm in my 30s, I'm like, oh
my gosh.
sure, I'll be 19, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And it only gets better, too.
Yeah.
It really only gets better. Because I age backwards.
That's right.
And when people ask me my age, I always say eternal, because it doesn't have anything to do with this. It has to do with the soul. So yeah, use it. It works.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, oh man, let me ask you. You tell me how you started off in music. Like, were you listening to the radio? Like, were you humming? Did somebody point it out to you? Like, what's your story? That's what I want to know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, well, from a really young age, I started singing, and I actually have a degree in education. I taught music in the schools, and I learned that most kids get their ear, the ability to sing on pitch, around the age of 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. And there's videos of me when I was 1.5 or 2, singing on pitch. Yeah. And my youngest does that too, which is really cool. Yeah. So that, I think it's just sort of always been a part of me. And then I really started being interested in singing when The Lion King came out when I was little. I was elementary school, 5 or 6 or something.
Absolutely.
And I would use, the little microphones that have they, you shake them and they make that funny noise, and if you sing in them you can hear yourself in them. Well, I would get one of those and stand on the fireplace and sing I Just Can't Wait to Be King, and I was like, I'm gonna be a singer,
I love it.
And then my parents only listened to country. Yeah. And my dad listened to the Cars. Yeah. So my whole life I only grew up singing country in the Cars, which is really funny. And I play with all these bands now that play cool rock music from in the 70s, and everyone thinks I know all this stuff, but I don't.
So you gotta learn it on the fly.
Yeah, I only know what the band members have taught me.
I wanted to ask you, so what would you classify, because Kayty's also a writer, and she's a really, really gifted writer. I'll do a little backstory. I met Kayti and honestly, I didn't really meet her. I've been a fan of hers for 4 years now. 4 years, because she did something called Anchorage Has Talent or something like that. And this girl went through a 10-week period where she sang every week, almost like American Idol. And then she won it all and then performed for New Year's Eve in downtown Anchorage. And I was just so blown away with her range and her voice. She's somebody who could literally sing the phone book. She's, it's amazing. It's really, really amazing. Because especially as somebody who's a contralto, I'm an alto. I know my range. I know if I'm hitting those high notes, it's going to sound operatic as all hell, because that's the only way I know how to do it, right? Mm-hmm. This girl is just so natural, and she has the notes in the atmosphere, which is gorgeous. But what would you classify your style as? I'm really into style. Mm-hmm. What is your style, and how did you really find your groove? How did you find your sound?
Well, I would say I'm still finding it, because my voice really gravitates towards bluesy, poppy, Even like country, I would say. Like I like to sing country. It's like not my favorite. Like I don't tend to listen to it, but I like how it feels in my voice. But my writing style is very singer-songwriter-y, kind of like leans like Regina Spektor kind of thing. And so I think I'm still finding it. Like people have been saying like, you know, I wish I could hear kind of how you do covers in your originals. And I'm like, me too. Like I wish I could hear that too. So yeah, I'm kind of this like mishmash right now, and I think I'm kind of heading towards some sort of like enmeshing of the two.
Yeah. Well, I think you know, and I talked to my friend Ryan about this, who's also a performer, one of the last big performers that I had interviewed, and he we talked about just like how things in your life, right? There are things that I write now at 46 that I would have never tapped into when I was like earlier in life, because you have got to go through the life experiences to get the insight to sort of be able to draw from. Does that make sense? So when you say like, I appreciate your honesty, man, because a lot of people will go out there trying to front like, yeah, I know myself. No, we are in a constant process of knowing ourselves, people. Honestly, we're constantly learning about who we are. So that's something that I appreciate your honesty about.
Yeah, thank you.
So Kayti used to teach, and she recently stopped teaching, and she's such a busy musician now. So you want to talk about like where you've sort of like flown out to besides Alaska, and like what your schedule's like as a musician. She also homeschools her kids, which is freaking awesome, because I tried it for a year with my talented daughter and I sucked at it. So all respect to the homeschool moms out there. That's not my cup of tea.
I'm sure you didn't suck as hard as you thought. Isn't that the truth? We always are so hard on ourselves.
Oh yeah, seriously.
Well, it's also good to be honest. Like, ooh, that was not my thing.
Yeah, it's just not my thing. I don't have patience. I'm like, do it because I said it. That's right.
It's also got that mother-daughter dynamic.
Exactly. Woo. I'll have somebody else homeschool my kid.
Well, and I also want to talk a little bit about, because we were talking about how like important it is like going for your dream and making those like sometimes scary decisions to like go for it. And I did that right before COVID hit. So in February before COVID hit, I decided to quit my teaching job and go full-time as a musician, because I was actually starting to make more money as a musician than I was as a part-time teacher. Yeah. Which is sad, but we won't get into that.
Teachers need to be paid more, damn it. I'll say it out loud.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the truth.
I will say it.
Yeah.
Teachers and helpers. Nobody's getting paid enough.
Yep, it's the truth.
Yes.
And I wanted to see my kids more, and I felt, for me, because I knew that I would like homeschool, like I felt weird about spending all this time with other people's kids, who I love. Yeah. I love those kids. But the fact that I had my own kids who were spending time with other adults, I was like, I want to be there, you know, and I felt that call to that. So I put in my letter of resignation. And then COVID hit, and I was like, woo, this is going to be interesting. And we moved out of the small town I grew up in. I grew up in Talkeetna. That's a short version of the story. There's about 800 people there, and that's where I lived as an adult until last year. Talkeetna is the coolest freaking hippie town on the planet. I love Talkeetna. It's just this small, like, end-of-the-road, dead-end town, which so much freaking, like, hippie chick love culture there. Talkeetna is a great place. And it produced Kayti. I love it. Yeah. And so go ahead. So she took a chance and moved out of this 800-person town to someplace a little bit more large. Yeah. And big city for me. The big city, right? It's probably tiny for like most of the people watching this, but it's closer to all of the music gigs, and I wanted to see my kids more and be on the dangerous moose ice-ridden roads less, you know. And like this last year was COVID, so it was like kind of a no-go as far as music, but this summer has been the busiest summer that I've ever had. Awesome. And I'm feeling super good about my decision. It was scary at first, you know, because like we were losing some of that income that I was making and moving away. And I love Talkeetna. Like I'm probably going to end up back there at some point, but sometimes you have to like leave where you grew up to sort of like, I don't know, find find yourself or
become more of yourself. That's what
That's
I
the
say.
one.
Listen,
Yeah.
when you leave someplace, I really don't believe it's because you're going to find yourself. All right, who you are is already in there, and you are leaving to find your full potential. You know what I'm saying? And then when you go back, you know, you're just bringing more of yourself to the table. So that's how I think. That's how I think. It's not a process. I think people get that twisted. You're not finding yourself. You are becoming more of yourself, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, more of your greatness. You're stepping into your authentic person, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's that.
Yeah.
Perfect. And yeah, this whole year has been sort of like not only a career awakening and personal awakening, but like I happened upon like a spiritual awakening too for myself, and totally just taking ownership of my own stuff.
That's
you know?
awesome.
And yeah, and so this summer we, my band, we traveled to Boston and we traveled to Oregon, and we weren't focusing on like getting a whole bunch of gigs. I have a really cool babysitter set up right now. Two of my brothers who are in their 20s live with us, and I said, hey, I told one of them, I'll waive your rent if you babysit for me whenever I need it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I want to see how it feels traveling with this band, because even though we love each other, it's still like, you don't really know what it's going to be like when you're with each other 24/7, like on a tour or something.
Yeah.
So we went and we played a family reunion of one of the guy. His name's Larry. And then we also played a house show in Boston, and we just kind of kept it chill. And then in Oregon, we played a yoga retreat.
So cool.
And that was super awesome.
Yay for yoga retreats!
Yeah, we like made up the music as we went, like
that's awesome,
improv,
dude.
and I love that. That's where I come from, like lots of improv roots.
You're just jamming.
So it was.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
oh.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Jam sessions are the fucking best. And when you have a bunch of really talented musicians that can just keep it going for like hours because they're that good and that tuned into each other, that energy is so strong and powerful. It's amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
So, what is the name of your band?
I would say like my main band that's like really got my heart right now is called Solar Gain, and it's with Larry Zarella, who's playing tonight. He's kind of the lead singer of this band. This is his band from like, it started 31 years ago.
Wow.
So I like to tease them that it started when I was 2. They're like, shut up. But I'm like, whatever, you're beautiful old men.
Listen, you already know how I feel about beautiful old men.
Right?
I love that.
And then Solar Gain, so I'm in that with Larry and this other girl named Danielle, and we're just like, our music meshes together, and we like feel each other, and it's almost like we're like cut from the same cloth, you know? Like the first time we traveled together, we were just driving, you know, and I went into Fred Meyer, which whatever.
It's a local grocery store, Fred Meyer.
Yeah, and so I went in there and I got my sushi and my kombucha and my chocolate because that's my jam. And I came out to the car, and I'm the last one. I'm always the last one. I'm like the pokey puppy of the band. I don't know how it happens. Like I try so hard. Anyway, so I come out there and I'm like, we're in the car driving. I'm like, if it gets like weird smelling back here, don't worry, it's just my sushi. And they were like, we got sushi too. So all 3 of us went in the store separately.
But
we all got sushi, kombucha, and chocolate.
So you're kindred spirits.
It's like, that's just a perfect example of like how we are all the time.
That's awesome.
And so I'm really excited about that group, and they're like my biggest songwriting fans, it feels like. They just love my stuff, and that's so special. Yeah. Because not every band does.
Yeah.
And then I have a solo thing I do too. It's just under my name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your solo thing, she has one song on Spotify right now. I want to talk about this song really briefly because her messages, she's deep like I am, right? Like total kindred spirit. She believes in really talking about the truth and touching like the human spirit when she's sending a message. So the song that she has on Spotify is called what?
It's called Evergreen, like the trees.
Yeah. And can you talk a little bit about what inspired this song and why it was important that was your first release? And I think about this because I'm working on my album now too, right? And you think about what songs you want to place where that are really going to sort of like show who you are. So talk about this song a little bit.
Yeah. So it actually stemmed from a friendship that had sort of died, and I felt like I was like an evergreen tree. Like I still wanted to like be friends.
Yeah.
And I felt like she was like a deciduous tree, and it's not her fault. Like she just lost her leaves, you know.
Yeah.
But like there I am still holding mine.
Yeah.
And it was weird. It was like we were so close, and there was no fight. There was no. It just sort of like, I don't know. It just went away, and it almost felt like going through a breakup. Like it was the weirdest thing. Like I cried a lot, and I actually I don't think I've ever shared this before because it's like who cries over like the loss of like someone not being your friend over more.
You know what though? It happens. No, this is a whole other conversation we could have though, and we won't go there. But loss is loss. It doesn't matter if it's a freaking like favorite pen that you used to write in a journal with, or a person. And I've talked about this in my lives before too. Loss is loss. How it's interpreted, what form it's interpreted in, it doesn't matter, because the feeling it still translates. So yeah, you're not silly at all.
Well, I remember like sitting there crying about it and starting to berate myself about it, and then I was like no, like my friend Katie with me is sad, and you need to be nice to her. And like what would how would you treat, like I was talking to myself, like how would you treat your friend if they were crying?
Yeah.
You would let them talk about it. You would encourage them to like turn it into something like beautiful, like a song or a piece of art or something. And so I was like, okay, self, we're gonna talk about it. And if you feel a song coming on, then do it. And so that's how I started writing that song. And it was one of those songs like that just came to me like all really fast. It's not usually how it is. It usually kind of comes in bits, but just all really fast. And I also started tapping in while I was writing it to all these emotions. I had a friend who I wasn't super close with, but he killed himself.
Oh.
And I was processing that as well. And so that's
So very big themes. And the thing that I love about songwriters, and I'm not just saying it, I know how healing it is for me to be a songwriter and lyricist, somebody who can translate what the world experiences into poetic form. It's such a healing experience. And I was actually, I don't know if you know, I was a suicide counselor for a while. I was like one of the people on the other end of a hotline. So these are all taboo things that are so hard to talk about. And this is the power of music, because when you're able to grasp that healing into whatever you're going through in life through the power of music, which is healing, golly, I believe that like people like Kayti are just really called to heal, like in various ways. Like, you're a healer, girl. You're a healer, because that's why we're gifted. We're gifted to share that with others, So important, because somebody needs to hear the message. It's all about the message. I talk about this.
Yeah. It's so funny because I feel like I'm a healer, and that's what I want my music to be. And right now I'm working on confidence, because it's like so hard for me to accept a compliment and to be like, yeah, I'm a healer, goddess energy. So I'm over here like I notice myself using like small body language and like, oh wow, like I need to like, it's okay, you're allowed to exist and feel like you're a healer. That's okay.
We all go through our process though. Like my stage fright, I'm not really an extrovert. I'm really not. When I first started out singing, me personally, I used to get up on a stage when I was in like high school, like I don't know, middle school, and my face used to twitch because I was so scared to be seen by people. And this is what I'm telling you. Just step out in faith, cross that fear barrier, and fucking just live, man. Because honestly, at the end of the day, it's how you feel about yourself. And when you accept your own greatness, that's when you're going to start walking in your authority. You understand me? You understand me?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, Like, all of that shit about, like, you not accepting. I totally get it. But at some point, you're going to have to just claim it, girl. Because, oh, my gosh, a couple hours, I'm telling you, she's going to blow your mind. And it takes a lot.
Well, and it's interesting because like songwriting and singing in particular is really like healing and therapy for me, because I feel like singing is, I don't know if it's the one place, but it's the one place I can think of right now that I feel like I can really just like be who I am.
Yes.
And I feel safe on stage.
Yeah.
Because I do have some social anxiety, and I'm like on stage, like no one can talk to me. And I love, it's the weirdest thing. I love people, but I like don't know how to be sometimes. And so on stage I feel like safe, and I've like really worked on like tapping into myself or like whatever beings there are, you know? And I'm like working on carrying that feeling with me, like into the rest
into
of
life. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think that's uncommon for a lot of musicians and performers, though. You know, like I really don't. I think sometimes when you are tapped in, like on a spiritual frequency, the spiritual vibes of the planet, right? This is my philosophy. Like, it's just really, really overwhelming. Like, we're straight empaths, y'all. Like, we feel everything. We are sensing. And that sensing can be fucking painful sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's painful. So that's something that we have to sort through and work through. And it is a process. But as long as you're working that process, man, you know, and she's still young. She's still learning. You know?
Yeah.
You'll get there. You'll get there. You'll get there.
I hope so.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna do a longer interview with Kayti in a couple months because she's gonna have another song that's gonna be coming out. And I just really wanted to introduce this girl to the world because I know she is going to explode at some point. I just have so much faith in this girl. I love her so much. She's such a kind heart. She's beautiful. She's talented. She's everything you need to be listening to. All right. So her song is called Evergreen. It's on Spotify. Throw out some more music while we can. What else can they look up and find from you?
So Evergreen is on Spotify, and it's under my name, which is Kayti. It's for Katy instead of Katy Heller. And then I also have music out under a duo project. It's electro pop, and it's called Aspen Yarrow, like the name of the tree and the flowers shoved together into one word. And a lot of those, there's a song there about like processing anxiety and other songs about emotional things. I'm like, ooh, wow, I have a lot of like harder, dark songs on there. But it sounds happy because it's like electronic music, so it's easier. It's a little easier on the palate, but yeah, I like that one a lot too.
It's all good. Look out for this girl. I'm telling you, she's gonna have her moment in space and time. She's having it now, you know? She's having it now because she took that step into faith and is actually like out there like singing across the country now, which is fucking awesome, man. So I'm gonna plug in the websites, all right? And you can actually go check her out, and then I'll be back on in a couple hours, maybe like an hour and some change, and we're gonna listen to her blow, man. Like, she is so good, so good. All right, I love you all. Thank you so much, Katy. And this is not the last time you're gonna be seeing this chick. Believe me, hearts around. Yeah, let me give you a hug too.
Yes,
I love you
thank you so much.
Yay. Mwah, love to the peoples. I'll be on again in a little bit. All right, bye now.